Good evening, children. In my previous video, I had completed the lesson Strategies for Enhancement in Food Production. Today, we will start with our lesson number 6, Organisms and Populations. In this lesson, there are many topics that have been removed, so kindly stick exactly to the reduced syllabus of this year and follow the video carefully. To begin the lesson, we will first understand the meaning of some terms. The first is ecology. Ecology is made, the term is made from two words, oikos and logos. They are Greek words. Oikos means home or the living space, and logos means the study or a discourse. That means to study the living space or the home of a living organism is ecology. The science of study is also called as hexecology or ethology. The definition says it is a branch of biology that deals with the study of interactions and interrelationships between organisms and their environment. You will understand this by a very simple figure given over here, the first page. Organisms on the planet, as we know, they are continuously interacting with the surrounding environment. This could be the atmosphere, the hydrosphere, or the lithosphere, that means the land. At the same time, they are mutually also interreacting amongst each other, and this entire study is what is called as ecology. The second term to discuss is habitat. Habitat in very short means the place where an organism lives. So habitat of an organism or a community means a wider group we are talking of, is that place or physical location where it actually lives. So your syllabus only requires you to study and define the terms here. And moving to the third is niche or ecological niche is the physical position or status that a given species occupies within the community, habitat, or an ecosystem on account of its structural adaptations, physiological role, and specific behavior. According to E.P. Odum, a renowned name in the field of study, he very rightly said that if habitat is the address of an organism, then ecological niche is its profession or lifestyle. Alright, so here to understand it simply, I'll also show you the textbook, children, what all things you have to move with. The first introductory page you will understand here by a simple reading. It's about ecology. Then you have some basic aspect. The syllabus is only emphasizing definition of habitat and the niche. No further details etc. are required. So we move further because many pages that are coming under this here, they are not required. The next two pages like 650 and 651, these will not be required at all. So directly after some many pages, we come to the next topic mentioned in your syllabus. See, all these pages, they are not required. So kindly come straight to the next topic, which is population, right? So I'll also like to show you, children, because you should understand how you are beginning with this topic. This is the new term, the new topic as we are starting here, organisms and populations, and the details begin from here. Definition of ecology, definition of habitat and niche. So all those extra details not required. After that, directly it begins with the definition of population. So let us begin, children. Niche, I hope you have understood, children. It is the behavior as E.P. Odum rightly said. To understand very simply, for example, let's say a frog. A frog in its earlier days or its young days, it's a tadpole and it is purely herbivorous, right? But when it grows up, it becomes into a full-fledged frog and it is purely carnivorous. So this is what is the behavior or the profession or the lifestyle which will be called as the ecological niche of a tadpole or a frog. Then moving to the new topic, population. It is a group of organisms of the same species that inhabit in a geographical area at a given time, share or compete for similar resources, and interbreed in nature, producing fertile offsprings. Resources means are things that we use in our daily routine, right? Then interbreed, we know children, to breed amongst themselves and produce the progenies. Coming next is 3 attributes of population, right? So here there are 3 population, as we understand, has certain attributes that an individual organism does not have, right? For example, an individual, if you talk, may have the birth and death, but a population you will call as having the birth rate and death rate. So that's the difference between an individual and a population. 3 attributes: number 1, birth and death rate; 2, sex ratio; and 3, age distribution or age composition. Like, what is the birth rate and death rate? It's very simple to understand. Birth rate and death rate, they refer to per capita births and deaths respectively. We'll explain it by a very simple example. See, suppose this is a pond. Suppose this is a pond in a given area with 20 lotus plants, right? Suppose in the previous year the number was 20. But now suppose 8 more have been added. They reproduced and added 8 new to the lot. So the total population went up to 28. So the birth rate in the given year would be 8 upon 20, which comes up to 0.4 offsprings in an year. Right? So this is how we calculate. Number that was present, number added. So the number added upon total, and that comes to 0.4 offsprings, right? Or the lotus plants per year. Also we can understand, suppose if there is a laboratory condition and in a lab there are 40 fruit flies, and in a week's time, that means 7 days time, 4 died. So what will be the death rate? It will be again number of organisms died upon total. So 4 upon 40, which comes up to 0.1 individual per fruit fly per week. So remember children, the total number comes at the bottom as a denominator, and whether it is the birth at the top or the total number that is died in this case, and the divided total figure comes as the death or the birth rate, right? Coming to sex ratio. This is simple to understand. It denotes number of males and females in a population. This is expressed, for example, we say like the population of males was 55%, right? A population has a sex ratio, suppose males to females, it is 55% male and 45% females, right? It is depicted as the number of females per 1000, right? Sometimes we say there are like 933 females per 1000 males in our country in 2001. So this is the ratio, children. We are giving the ratio, that is how many females over the males, right? And in a given area, this is what we call as the sex ratio. So these two are simple to understand, children. Moving to the third, age distribution or age composition. Age distribution is a relative number of organisms of various age groups in a population. Now every population, children, we have 3 groups of people. The young, that we call, or rightly we call as pre-reproductive, reproductive and post-reproductive, right? So accordingly, depending on the age distribution, whether it is pre-reproductive or the reproductive period in the given population or post-reproductive, there are 3 kinds of populations. The first is expanding population. We also call it as growing population. Second is stable or stationary. And third is declining. So here if we show you the same into your book, children, it's something like here. This is the expanding population. You can see the pre-reproductive is at the bottom, reproductive the second in the middle, and post-reproductive at the top. So looking at this, what we can say about the first is that this type of population has high birth rate. This would be high birth rate and the death rate will be low. So there'll be more number of young individuals than the old. Such a population is called as the expanding type. Remember, the post-reproductive or the old age people must be low in such a population, and the pre-reproductive, these will have high birth rate. So this is what we call as an expanding type. Coming to the second type is what we call as the stable or stationary population. Second one. In this, you can clearly see that the birth rate and death rate, this is the birth rate, the bottom one, and the death rate is equal, right? The population growth would be 0. Imagine the number of people being born and the number of deaths in a given area is same. Then what is the population growth? It's absolutely 0. Coming to the declining type is this. If I show you here, declining type population, in such a population, higher death rate than the birth rate, right? And such population we call as declining because the young ones, they are lower in number than the old ones, right? You can see the young ones, they are lesser in number than the old ones here. So such a population is called as the declining population. Once again, before we move further, we have started with our new topic, very simple topic to understand, ecology. I am introducing the terms only today: habitat, niche, population, 3 attributes of population, where we talk about birth and death rates, sex ratio, age distribution or age composition. Under this, I explained you a very simple example of lotus into a pond and fruit flies in a lab. Then we talked about the percentage of sex ratio distribution and 3 age groups of a population: pre-reproductive, reproductive and post-reproductive. We had 3 types of population according to this: the expanding or growing population, stable or stationary population, and the declining population. Declining would be this figure. I haven't colored this, but I will color and then send it to you for notes. Then moving further to the age pyramids. Pyramid, children, I am sure you know the meaning, the Egyptian pyramids, right? So here in case of a population, age pyramid means, suppose like we know that a population is given as a total of different age groups. If we suppose in a given population, it's a mixture or composed of individuals of different age groups. Then if the age group of different people in population is plotted, the resultant structure is called an age pyramid. Now, 3 types of age pyramids we have. Triangular age pyramid, because it's shaped like a triangle. This is bell shaped because it is shaped like a bell. And the third is urn shaped, URN, urn shaped age pyramid. Remember children, 3 colors, they are denoting 3 age groups. At the bottom, that is the base, the blue color, it's giving the pre-reproductive age group, just like the previous. Pre-reproductive is at the bottom. You saw it here. Pre-reproductive was at the bottom. Then came reproductive in the middle and post-reproductive at the top. Same way, when you talk about the pyramids, the blue color indicates the pre-reproductive age group, red denotes the reproductive, and green denotes the post-reproductive age group. So what are the features of the first type, that is triangular age group? This type of pyramid, it shows a young or growing population. See the pyramid. The pre-reproductive are more than the post-reproductive. That means the old people are less in such a population. So such a population is called as a young or growing population. It shows rapidly growing or expanding population. Birth rate is high and population growth is exponential, right? So birth rate is high and population growth is exponential. Coming to the second, which is bell-shaped. This shows a stable or mature population. Reason? The birth rate, that is the blue color, is equal to the death rate, that is the red color, right? In other words, the pre-reproductive, that is blue, and reproductive, that is red, are more or less equal in size. So these two you can see, They are more or less equal. But the smallest of all is the post-reproductive age group. So this is the smallest of all the age groups, that is the old people. They are the smallest. Coming to the third is the urn-shaped age pyramid, and it shows a diminishing population. Why diminishing? Because the number of population of people that are born is less than the number of old age people, post-reproductive age group. Such a population shows a diminishing type. Birth rate drastically reduced. See this. The smallest of all three is the birth rate. Reproductive and post-reproductive increase gradually to the post-reproductive age group, which is the maximum. And such a shape is called as the urn-shaped age pyramid. So once again, before we move further, 3 pages. They were simple to understand, children. The first page, the second page, and the third page. Moving further to our next topic for today is population density or population size. We denote this by capital alphabet N. By definition, this represents the number of individuals or biomass of a species per unit area or volume at a given time. Note, area used for land organism and volume used for aquatic ones. So this you have to make a point or a note for yourself, that area is length into breadth, we know, and volume is length into breadth into height. So this term area in terms of population density is used for land animals, but volume is used for the aquatic ones. Alright, so to explain this further, I'll show you. This is at page number 684. This is given over here. See, 3 types of age pyramids we have done. Population density, right? So population density is represented sometimes like this. For example, 50 lions per square kilometers. That is area and the number of organisms. Or 500 trees per hectare. That is again the area and number of trees. Or 5 million diatoms per 5 million diatoms per cubic meter of water, and 50 paramecia per cubic milliliter. So this represents or contrasting, there's a formula for population density, right? It is something like this. Population density is number of individuals in a population upon area occupied. That means if there are let's say 500 trees per hectare, so this will be 500 trees, that is individuals, and area occupied per hectare. So that's the formula for calculating or measuring the population density. Then there are 2 ways of expressing population density. Number 1, crude density method and ecological density. In crude density, this is the total number of individuals or biomass per unit area or total volume. Whereas ecological density is the total number of individuals of a species actually inhabiting an ecological area or volume, right? So this is the actual number, the ones that are living in an ecological area. But this is the total number of individuals of an area or a volume. If we talk about the significance of population density, we have to understand 4 basic processes that affect population density. Suppose this is a given population, right? And now 4 terms we'll talk about, and this is the last thing for us today. Natality means the number of births during a given period in a population. B, suppose it is B. Then here it is mortality, which means the number of deaths in a given population. Suppose it is D. So why this is plus and minus? In a given population density, density means per unit area, right, or a volume. So if there are number of people that are born, so natality or the birth rate will add to the population density. And this will, if people are dying or the mortality rate is high, then this will be minus, that the number of population will decrease. Similarly, I, that is immigration. What is immigration? Suppose somebody is coming to our country, India. So this will be called as immigration. What will happen to the population of India? It will increase. So that is why I plus means the number of individuals, they are entering the population from outside. So naturally the population density will increase. Emigration means to go out or leave the population or the given habitat. So in this case, it will be minus because it is decreasing the population density. So this is important to understand as 4 basic principles or processes that affect population density of an area. Natality increases, mortality decreases, that is death rate. Immigration or to come in increases, and emigration it decreases. So let us see the definitions of these terms. Natality is the number of births during a given period in a population that are added to the initial density. You just now saw that the number of people that are born. That is, natality increases the density of a population. What about mortality? Mortality, as I said, children, this is the number of deaths in a population during a given period. That is, it decreases the density of the population. Immigration is the number of individuals of same species that enter the habitat from outside during the period under consideration. That is, people that are coming into a given habitat, and therefore it will increase the population or the density of population. Emigration means to go out of a given habitat. So this is the number of individuals of population who leave the habitat and go elsewhere during the period under consideration, and thus it reduces the density of population. Alright. Then here there is another term called carrying capacity. Carrying capacity in nature, habitats are species specific. Habitat means home. They are species specific and have resources to limit that can support maximum number of individuals to grow and reproduce, beyond which no further growth is possible. This limit of habitat to subsist a species is called carrying capacity. In other words, capacity means how much potential does a particular habitat have to hold a population. Suppose there are favorable conditions of food, weather, climate, temperature, sunlight, everything, and a given population is thriving in a given area of a forest. Like, even beyond having that favorable condition being with them, the individuals cannot grow endlessly. There will be a point beyond which no growth is possible, and there are limitations for it. This is what we call as carrying capacity. It's denoted by a capital alphabet K. Right? Then population growth rate. There's a formula. It's small r. It is given by this formula. Number of births plus number of immigrants. That is, both the terms that are increasing a population minus number of deaths plus number of emigration. That is, both that are decreasing. Total of increasing minus total of decreasing upon number of individuals in population per time. Right? In a given time. So this you have to learn the formula, children. If you get in a short question, then this would help. So 2 formula I have introduced, children, here. First was population density, right? Second is population growth rate. That is, at what rate is a population growing, denoted by R, right? And population density, this is denoted by capital N. Alright? Then, so to end up our class today, children, population growth refers to the total number of increase in the organisms occupying a certain area. Growth is, obviously we understand that a population can only grow if the number of births, that is natality, or let's say immigrants, they are more than the number of mortality or the immigrants, that is people leaving the place. Factors affecting population growth. There are number of factors. Food availability affects the population growth. Predation pressure, adverse weather or the prevailing weather conditions, then availability of space, and finally the 4 factors that we have discussed: natality or the birth rate, mortality or the death rate, immigration, that is to come into a habitat, and emigration, that is to leave a habitat and move out. We will stop here. Next time, we will start from other mathematical approach from this topic here, population growth equation, right? And the topics that we have done today, I'll just brief you up, children. The number of pages that I am going to send you to write, it is first page, this is the second page, the third page, fourth and fifth page. So 5 pages, children. I would also like to show you what we have done for the topics today. Definition of ecology, definition of habitat and niche, definition of population, population attributes, sex ratio, types of age distribution pyramids for human population, definition of population density, natality, mortality, emigration, immigration and carrying capacity, ways to measure population density, and from here calculation will start next time, that is tomorrow. So please write down these 5 pages and compile up your notes. The chapter is tailor-made as per the requirement of the syllabus only. Kindly do not do the things that are not mentioned in the syllabus, right? And ask doubts if any. Thank you.